Today we'll be making interchangeable candle wraps. Why interchangeable? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Hi everyone, it's Natalie from nellydesign.com. If you have watched some of my tutorials before, you probably know that I like practical and useful things. So when people talk to me about seasonal decor, I always hesitate to make it because, I don't know about you, but I lack space to store them once the holiday is over. So if you're short on space as much as I am, you're gonna love the project we're making today. They are interchangeable candle wraps. Yes, interchangeable. Why? Well, because it is vinyl applied on vellum. So once the holiday is over, the only thing you need to do is to detach the little tape that's behind, like this, remove the tape, and store them flat like that. You can even cut more design for other holidays so your candles have life all year long. If you would like to have the SVG file to make this project, the link will be in the description of this video, and you'll even get 2 bonus designs, one for Christmas and one for Halloween. So here's what you'll need to make this project. Just know that the supply list will also be below this video and all the links too. So first of all, you'll need 3 LED glass candles. And also you will need a maker or an explorer because the taller of the 3 candles cannot really fit in the size of the joy. You can use either removable or permanent vinyl to make this, no problem. Just use the color, your favorite color. I'm going to use, of course, transfer tape, and we're going to be using some vellum, as I said. Vellum paper is kind of a translucent paper that you use. You often see it in wedding invitations. So this is what we're going to use. We're going to need 3 sheets of this. As for the tools, well, of course, a standard grit mat, some weeding tools, scissors, a scraper. I'm going to be using this little pencil. You're going to see why later. You're going to need a tape measure to make sure the candles are the same size as mine. And I'm going to be using a trimmer, and I'm going to explain why later. So in Cricut Design Space, you're going to create a new project by clicking on the green button. Then you're going to upload the SVG file. So by clicking the upload button, you're going to go to upload image, and then you're going to browse it because you need to save it first to your computer. It's really important. Save it to your computer. Remember where you saved it, and you're going to go fetch it where it is. So by clicking on browse, you're going to go find it on your computer. So the 3 SVG files that we're uploading includes the 3 design for the 3 candles. So you don't need to import 3 different SVG files. They are all in one. So we're going to click upload. Then I'm going to select it and I'm going to add to Canva. First thing you need to do, we're going to ungroup because the 3 designs are all grouped together. So we ungroup it. And the reason why I want you to ungroup, it's because we're going to measure the candles and we're going to make sure the design fits in all 3 candles. So I'm going to show you with only one, but I'd strongly suggest that you measure the 3 of them because they might not be the exact same size. It's not really major because the design won't go all the way to the top, but you really need to make sure it fits all the way around. The idea is that the design, if you look at it, will be really a continuous scene. So when we place the candle, the 3 candles next to each other, you're gonna have like a continuous scene of a truck that is going with a 3. So let's do the tall one. The tall one is the hardest one. So to measure it, you really need to see the height, and the height is 6 inches. And I'm gonna take the circumference is a little bit 9 3/8. So the tallest one, I'm going to select it. Now there are ungroup, and I'm going to check right here the size that I have. So it's 5.7, that's below 6, so it's perfect. And it's 9.137. So 9.137 is really the perfect size also to fit my candle. So just make sure it is perfect for you too, that it fits inside the measurement that you have taken. It doesn't need to be really flush on it. If it's not, what you can do is really scale it a bit. So if you need to scale it, you're gonna go right here and find the arrows like this and really scale it a bit. Now make sure the measurements are still okay and both the width and the height, that it doesn't go over. Also make sure that you keep the lock so that the proportions are kept. And really that's it. There's not really much more you need to do in Design Space except to click Make It. So I'm gonna open my Cricut and I'm gonna click Make It. I'm gonna be cutting on a mat, and if you notice, I still have a little bit of space right here at the bottom of the first mat. So if I push this design a bit further up, I'm gonna be able to take this design, click on the little three dots, move objects, and move it to the first mat. Confirm. Now they appear both on top of each other, so I'm just gonna drag it at the bottom. So you see it fits perfectly. So I'm gonna be thrifty and be saving some materials like that. I'm gonna click on continue. Now the important thing you need to really check is what materials you have, because vinyl is not all vinyl. As a matter of fact, the one I'm using is called, and you need to go check on the paper right here, it says premium vinyl textured metallic. So this vinyl, I'm gonna need to select the exact same thing in Design Space. If you have an Explorer Air 2 and you have a dial right here, just put it on custom and really select the material in Design Space as I'm doing. So really select the one you have. So I'm gonna browse all materials. So I have textured metallic. So I'm gonna write textured metallic. So here it is, a premium vinyl textured metallic. And I'm gonna select it and I'm gonna click done. So I'm gonna be ready to apply it on the mat and load the material. So to apply the vinyl on the mat, oh, by the way, I wanna tell you, if you're scared of losing this protective plastic, just put it under your Cricut like this. You'll never lose it again. So just put the vinyl on your mat and we're gonna send it to the Cricut so it's been cut. There's no mirror, there's nothing to be done. Just put it on the mat and load it into the Cricut. So the cut is done. Before you remove the mat, always important to check if it has cut all the way through. So we're looking for a kiss cut. It needs to cut, but not the backing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove a bit, maybe from the inside of the wheel of the truck or the window or something like this. So you go here and you check it out with your weeding tool. And if it comes off perfectly like this, you're in business. So no problem, you can unload the mat. If not, just press the go button again. It will go over it a second time. But if you have already unloaded the mat, it won't be possible. So it's really important to check it before you unload the mat. Now remember where I put my little protective plastic? It's right here. Okay, so we're going to use scissors to cut the three designs, to separate the three designs so that we can weed them separately. It's going to be easier, and furthermore, we're going to be saving some vinyl. We always love to save vinyl. It's a bit hard to see because it's shimmering, so I'm sorry for the overhead camera. So we're going to be removing all the pieces of vinyl that we don't want. That is called weeding. And I got my Cricut Bright Pad out just because this vinyl is very shimmery. But honestly, you don't really need the Bright Pad. If you don't have it, it's okay. You'll be able to weed it. It's just that you need to incline the vinyl. If it's as shiny as mine, you need to incline the vinyl with the light to see it better. But the Bright Pad for this vinyl really does a terrific job. So I'm going to open it. Hopefully it doesn't really blind you. And we're going to be weeding this. So really weed and remove everything that you don't want. Just make sure the vinyl stays, what you want will really stay on the backing. And if you're having trouble, a little trick that I have, I usually cut the pieces like that so that I'm not really stuck with everything. So I can really concentrate on one piece and after that the other one. Watch out for the little leaves. They're going to be a bit trickier. They might want to come up. So when I have a little piece done, sometimes what I do, as I said, just cut it like that. So that I can get rid of it. I don't know if you see, it's tearing like right here, and I'm totally fine with this because it's going to leave me two pieces, different pieces. I can really concentrate on the leaves, get the leaves done, and then come back for the track. So next step, we're going to be using a transfer paper to transfer the design onto the vellum. I'm using a 6-inch tall piece of transfer paper. This is the same one I'm going to be using for the 3 candles. So I'm using the tallest size so I can reuse it on the 3 candles. So in order to transfer it, I'm going to be removing a little piece of the backing. What I like to do is just don't remove all of the backing, just bend a little piece like this, and then you'll be able to place it over your design like this, so you can really move around, make sure you cover it all, and then place it like this. Then you can remove all of the backing. It's really easier that way. So I really put my scraper under it like this so that I don't create any bubbles. It's really useful to have 3 hands when you do this. If you don't feel comfortable with it, just have someone to pull on this sheet of paper while you really press on it with your scraper. It really helps when you're a beginner. It's totally fine. I did this a lot of times. So now I make sure I rub very hard. And the trick for the vinyl to stay on the transfer paper is not to remove the transfer paper from the backing. It's really to remove the backing from the transfer paper. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to turn it, and you're going to place yourself like this. It's really easier that way, and you're going to roll it towards you, not up there, towards you. So I'm going to roll it like this. If I try to move it like that, it's going to come off for sure. Especially the little leaves, I might have a little trouble. If you see you having trouble, you just press back on it. You see this leaf doesn't want to stay there, so I just pressed it back. So next we need to apply the transfer onto the vellum. If you are scared you're not going to be straight enough, you can always use a parchment paper. That's what I like to use. So I apply parchment paper almost over all my design. I leave a little piece right here. And you don't need to be very, very straight on the bottom. I'm going to explain. You just need to be straight enough. Let's say it like that, so that you have enough space. So let's see. My bottom is not very, very dark, so I have trouble finding my vellum. There it is. So as I said, it's not that important to be straight. I'm going to rub hard on the part that is sticking to the vellum. Remove the the parchment paper like this, and apply the design with my scraper. Then it's the same thing. You need to remove the transfer paper, but don't remove the transfer paper like this. Really roll it as we did for the backing. So if you have someone else that can help you again to hold the vellum down, but if not, you just pull on it like this. See, it comes off pretty easily, and the vinyl stays really on the vellum, so that's pretty cool. So we're going to be reusing this transfer paper, so you need to find your backing that you had before. Try to reapply it as straight as you can, because you're going to be reusing it. So it's not... Maybe sometimes I do bend it like that in half. It's easier to come and apply it on the backing, so that I'm ready for the next one. Now I'm going to use my trimmer. That's when the trimmer comes handy, because I'm going to cut a straight line at the bottom of the vellum. And for that, I'm going to try to aim on the wheels and the little leaves right here. So to be as straight as I can. this. So this is the bottom of the candle, and I'm gonna also make sure to apply my vellum at the bottom of the trimmer, so I make really a 90-degree angle line, and I'm gonna cut right next to the pumpkin. Now I'm gonna take a tall candle and my pencil, just move the trimmer, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wrap the candle very tightly so I see where the two overlaps. Ideally, you would go like this and find it. I'm gonna be putting myself like this so you see it better. So really tightly, make sure you are on the table, and tightly, I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna find where the two overlaps. I might leave like a little millimeter, really, really tiny overlapping. So I'm gonna note this right here. Use the trimmer again and cut it with a straight line. Now, if I go like this, I might not do a very straight line because there's no place for me to put the bottom of the vellum. So I'm gonna go on the other side, open this ruler, and make sure that it's really, really touching everywhere. And my little line is right here, so close it, cut it, and that is perfect. Again, I'm gonna wrap it around, try to find the top. Now you want to find just the top of your candle. Again, doing like this is really easier. So if you want to see it, it's gonna be like just under the top. And this is what I'm gonna cut. Finally, to secure this onto the candle, I've tried double-sided tape and it really doesn't work because, as I said, the purpose of this is to remove it every time that the holiday is finished. And double-sided tape really leaves a residue, so I'm just going to be using some really regular Scotch tape. Really a tiny piece really does the job. I'm even going to take this tiny of a piece, I'm going to split it in two, and I'm going to put one at the top and one at the bottom, and that's it. So it's the same thing for the next two candles. You do the exact same steps and it will be done. And when the three candles are done, you can place them like this to have like kind of a continuous scene, and the truck flows from one candle to the other. So it's really beautiful. Don't forget that if you want to have this SVG file and two other bonus files, the link will be in the description of this video. If you really enjoyed this tutorial, don't miss the next one that will be right here. See you later. Bye bye.